Welcome to another episode of Right Click Print Money, where we are all about making paper for the masses with PGA Tour picks. I am your host, SportsGuyTy, joined as always by my esteemed co-hosts, Tmac and ShallowCal. Gentlemen, good evening to you both. ShallowCal, we're going to jump right into this and start with you for your podcast sauce. What is fueling the creative juices tonight, my friend?
The most classic of all classics, and the old standby Bell's Two-Hearted Ale.
The official beer of
Much
Michigan.
to say, it is what it is.
Very fitting, since all three of us are located in Michigan. We are coming to you from the beautiful Great Lakes state this evening. How about you, T-Mac? You're on the Cherry Coke tip last week. What's the podcast sauce this week?
Another early morning for me tomorrow, so now I have an IBC Black Cherry Coke.
That man has got to right-click print money in the real estate market tomorrow, so no alcohol for his podcast sauce.
Correct.
All right, well, I'm on an old standby as well. Good old-fashioned Yingling Light from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. More importantly, though, my koozie, the Sunflower River Blues and Gospel Festival from Clarksdale, Mississippi. I'll be rotating in new koozies every week, promoting the very best that the South has to offer from a previous life. But, gentlemen, we got a packed show tonight, a lot to get to, including our recap of the WGC Workday Championship at the Concession, as well as our picks for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. But before we do that, let's let everybody know where they can find the show every week, as well as where they can find our picks. So in addition to YouTube, we are also now listed on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, as well as Google Podcasts. Search Right Click Print Money. Once you find us, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave a 5-star review. Tell us what you like about the show or don't like. Actually, save that for Twitter, what you don't like. Tell us what you do like about the show in the reviews, but help us out. Once you find those episodes, make sure you download them as well instead of just streaming them, because that's what helps move us up the charts so we can start to get recognized, get a little bit more notoriety for the show, and kind of start showing up in some of those lists.
I believe the kids call that clout.
Clout. We need some clout. So get us some kids to get us some clout.
I got 2 of them for you. You want them both?
We want to make you guys some money, so help move us up so we can accomplish that.
Absolutely. And if you want to follow all of our picks every single week, we are going to give our best bets for outrights, some top 5s, top 10s, matchups, props on the actual show. But if you want to see a complete spreadsheet of all of our picks year to date plus weekly, follow us on Twitter at RightClickPicks. We've got a link to that spreadsheet, which we've made public, posted for everyone, so you can tail our picks. You can also see how we're doing every week. We've got links to all the different podcast sites that I mentioned previously. So come on, interact with us, ask us some questions, maybe drop us your favorite outright picks in the Twitter mention section for the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week. But gentlemen, the goal is making paper.
We'll take any of those picks that you feel great about. If you want to drop them,
put them in the YouTube comment.
Reply
on Twitter. Let's get some interaction. We'll pull some listeners into the show moving forward.
Sure.
But First topic tonight, we're going to recap quickly the WGC Workday Championship at the Concession, as well as Right Click Print Money. Talk to you about our picks that did hit last week. First of all, no right-clicking on Collin with 2 L's for this crew this week. ShallowCal, you sniffed it with a little exposure on a top 10.
Yeah. Obviously, you wish you would have gone all the way with that one. And now, having seen the course really for the first time, it does not surprise me that sweet swinging iron striker was on fire, and it felt like he was within 20 feet for birdie every single hole. It was unreal. It's a scary course, honestly. I don't want to play that one.
Has Collin supplanted Rory as the best long iron player in the game? Over 200 yards?
I mean, I think right now he has. He's just a hell of an iron striker. So, I would say so.
Also pretty good with his long irons. old beefy Brooksy boy. But man, that was just his tempo was unreal. It was literally the exact same shot every single time. Tempo was the same.
It was a dominant performance from Morikawa. It wouldn't have been surprising if he had gone into Sunday with a 5-shot lead. I think he made a lot of people nervous by retreating a little bit Saturday, but he didn't blink once on Sunday. He did everything that you have to do. Concession is a tough golf course, but it's a fair golf course. If you're hitting your shots and your spots, you're going to be able to score there. And he just simply avoided the big mistake and cruised to victory.
And you said it, they avoided the big mistake because I think had Victor Hovland not avoided that, or had he avoided that big mistake on Friday with that quad bogey, I think it would have been a completely different tournament and he would have taken it down.
What do we think about Concession? Does this course need to be in the rotation moving forward?
Totally.
150 million%. Can you imagine playing that course if the weather would have been not picture perfect? That course was awesome to watch a golf tournament at.
Yeah.
This is a major championship caliber golf course. I want to see a future PGA at Concession.
Me too.
They rolled the greens like a major. If they grew and did whatever, to make it a major, 100% for sure. But if they did do that, I wouldn't want to see them grow any of the greens or any of the grasses around the greens. I want those balls rolling off like they did. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want that. I don't want that rough I don't want that fringe or anything any longer. I want to keep that grass short and let that ball move right through it, because that was watching Victor Hovland and Patrick Reed, their balls, just coming right down at you.
It's a typical Florida course, cut short with lots of runoffs around the green, and I agree completely. I mean, that's one of the things that makes Florida golf courses so unique and so much fun to watch on the PGA Tour. I would be fine if they moved Concession into the rotation for a yearly PGA Tour tournament. I mean, maybe we rotate with the Honda Classic, and every other year it's PGA National and then Concession. I mean, I think we just – after having the opportunity to see that course on television and the way that the pros reacted to it, that's a course that we have to see at least on a biannual basis.
100% agree.
We can give them the Rocket Mortgage Classic. They can do that one down there. I'd rather see that than the Detroit Country Club.
You can't take away Detroit's only PGA Tour event. All right, let's get into right-click print money, though. Let's recap those picks from the WGC Championship at the Concession. Tough week for all three of us. This was actually the first week since we've launched the podcast that all three of us recorded a losing week on our betting cards. But there were some right-click print money picks too this week. So T-Mac, we're going to start with you and jump right into it. Recap your winners. Who were you right-clicking and printing money on at the Concession?
Yeah, so I hit on a top 10, a top 20, and a prop. So my top 10 was Patrick Reed at plus 250. Had a half unit bet on him, so I walked away with just a little over a unit and a half. Then top 20, I hit Lowry at plus 140. That was a half unit bet, so I ended up getting plus just a little over 1 unit. And then I hit a prop bet of Brooks and Patrick Reed to both finish in the top 20 at plus 230. Another half unit bet, so just a little over a unit and a half there. So that netted be about 4.6 units just between those three.
So 4.6 units returned, your original bet plus the winnings. Right-click print money for T-Mac this week. ShallowCal, how about you?
It was a bloodbath over here.
Smaller card for you though too.
It was a smaller card, yet somehow still a bloodbath. The only one I hit was the Morikawa, aka Collin with 2 L's, top 10, and that was not great. Just 2.1 units returned on that one. And down significantly for the week with that. But shake them off and come back.
Still a right-click print money on Collin with 2 L's.
Yeah, true.
Wasn't any better on my end as well. Only 2 cashes for me this week. Right-click print money on a top 5 for Brooks Koepka, as well as a top 10. That returned a total of 4.75 units for me this week. Again, original bet plus the winnings. So where we all landed for the tournament, ShallowCal, you were down 5.4 units. I wound up down 9.75 units, my second worst performance of the year. Tmac, you were down 12.9 units for the tournament, but the good news is, gentlemen, collectively, we are up over 114 units on the PGA Tour season just since we relaunched in January for the Super Season. ShallowCal, you lead the way at plus 41.88 units. Tmac with 37.33 units in the positive, and then I rounded out with 34.92 units in the positive. So, gentlemen, what we're doing is working, but I want to know before we move on to the next segment, what was your biggest sweat this past weekend that wasn't a win? What were you watching the PGA Tour app for and just kind of cringing on television, hoping that it was going to come through? We'll start with you, T-Mac.
I mean, it was Patrick Reed. I really needed him to come through just for our fantasy league purposes. So we won't go too in depth there, but just was really sweating that one. Plus, I had bet him pretty heavily. So that, and honestly, Victor, it's funny. You guys are making fun of me because I had 1/7 of the field picked, and I had a couple of the guys dancing around the top there. But got to give it to Collin there. He sealed the deal.
Don't worry, we're going to make fun of ShallowCal later for his double-digit outright picks this week. Your biggest sweat this past weekend, ShallowCal?
Cam Smith, first round leader. Man, oh man, that would have been nice, right?
Yeah.
Didn't hit that one. And yeah, that was. I mean, Cam Smith top 5 as well. Boy, did he really kind of fall off hard there.
But he came back towards the end on Sunday. Like, I thought he was gone, and then he had a pretty good round. I think he was 5 under.
Yeah, 5-6 under on Sunday. Yeah. Cam Smith was almost my biggest sweat as well. I had an outright on Cam at 60-1 and was feeling great after Friday, but he just collapsed so hard on Saturday. There was no reason for me to sweat at all on the weekend for Cam Smith. Yeah. My biggest was Brooks. I hit the top 5. I hit the top 10. I also had an outright on Brooks at 28-1. Had he been able to come through and grab that title from Collin with 2 L's, that would have completely turned my card around, taken, a small loser and made it into a large winner. So definitely a nice sweat, at least on Sunday. Didn't wind up where any of us wanted to, but we're back on the horse this week for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Yeah, let's use that as a segue, gentlemen. Go ahead.
I had him 28-1 as well, so that would have been nice.
Tough one to lose. It just felt like a Brooks course, a tough course in Florida for the Florida State grad, but good form for Brooks. Excited to see what he's going to do in the majors coming up. But okay, let's jump into previewing the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Next up on the docket this week, this is Arnold Palmer's tournament at Bay Hill. It's an invitational, again, 123 players. Classic Florida golf course, very similar to the concession last week. Bermuda greens, lots of runoffs, lots of water, lots of sand. It is a tough spot sandwiched between the WGC Championship last week and the Players next week. So the field is a little bit lighter, very heavy on the European Tour flavor this week as always. But ShallowCal, give us some vitals on Bay Hill.
Bay Hill, like you said, classic Florida course. You got the Bermuda greens, Bermuda grass throughout, par 72, 7,400 yards. Like you said, a lot of water comes into play. We hope for a little bit of weather out there. This course built in the 60s and 70s. Arnie bought it, but he made it more towards that resort style, of course, made it more playable for the amateurs and not tougher. So a lot of these guys are just going to be out there, out driving all of the obstacles on this course. So you're going to see some low scores if you don't have any weather out there. I You've got a par 5, hole 6, where if you can carry it and you got a big swinging stick that you think you can carry that water, you can drive the green on a par 5 here on this course. And I can't wait to see big old Bryson step up to the tee and just try to go for that one. It'll be a sight to see, that's for sure.
Little foreshadowing there. I've got a prop bet because of that hole.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna end all that excitement right now. No one is driving the green at 6. Did any of you now? I can't wait to watch Bryson try. I'm interested to see if he does it in tournament. But I am certain that we're going to see footage either on Twitter or on Golf Channel this week that somebody's going to catch.
16.
Yeah, Bryson in a practice round going for it on 6. Did either of you happen to see the world long drive champion try and drive the green on 6 at Bay Hill this week on Twitter? It was so embarrassingly short. I mean, like, it's not happening. No one is driving the green on 6 this week. Let me tell you that right now.
I mean, hey, big old Bryson says he can carry it 375. Let's see it.
I can't wait to watch him try. I admit that. So, ShallowCal, the renovations, the redesign that you alluded to, done in 2009 by Arnold Palmer, a second kind of wave. It wasn't a true redesign, but in 2015, new course superintendent came on board, wanted to put a little bit more teeth back into it. They widened the fairways, but they grew up the rough a whole bunch. They shaved down a bunch of those catch areas that would hold up a lot of balls approaching the green or just before it. So it is a very challenging course. It actually played as the toughest course on tour last year of anything on the PGA Tour. 2.11 shots over par. Only 4 players finished under par last year at Bay Hill. It's going to be tough par 3s again, tough long par 3s. You have some difficult par 4s, some reachable par 5s. What else? What else you got, Tmac? Anything on the course you want to add?
No, you guys were pretty thorough this week.
One thing I'll throw out as well, crossover course, corollary course, potentially the BMW PGA Championship on the European Tour. The last 3 winners of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Tyrrell Hatton last year, Francesco Molinari in 2019, Rory in 2018, have all won the BMW PGA Championship on the European Tour. Similar type of course setup. So potentially, if you're looking for some angles, if you're looking for some converging trends, the performance of a lot of these European Tour players in the field this week at the BMW could have some significant crossover and a lot of corollary.
Go ahead. One thing I will say is it looks like we're due for a lot of rain this week. It looks like 3 of the 4 days are going to be pretty wet. This course plays completely differently wet, soaked wet, than when it's a dry Florida course. So I think we're in for a different type of tournament.
The weekend is going to have some teeth with that weather rolling in, potentially some wind. Again, a lot of European Tour players this week in the field. A lot of them own homes, second homes in Florida because of the golf paradise that's down there. So this is a very popular stop every year for European Tour players. A lot of these guys grew up playing links courses, playing in the wind. A lot of grinders out there. If that weather rolls in Thursday, Friday into Saturday, I think you're right. I think we're going to see a completely different golf course. This is also a tournament for long shots. The past 7 winners have averaged 84-1 on the betting books, 60-1 overall since they started keeping statistics on API. It's going to get interesting on the other end of that board. Last stat I'll leave you with before we jump into some statistics that we're looking at this week. Only 2 Americans have won this tournament since 2005. Tiger Woods and Matt Every. That's it. That is it. 2 Americans. This is an international flavor, an international tournament for the players. But let's talk about why and what we're looking at in terms of homing in on who that's going to be. T-Mac, what statistics are you targeting this week as you look at Bay Hill?
There's 2 that I'm really focusing on this week. 33% of the approach shots from this weekend are going to be from 200 and plus yards out. So I'm looking at strokes gained on the approach from 200 plus yards.
Ball strikers, baby.
Oh yeah, it's going to be really important. A lot of stuff to carry. It's probably where my most important stat to consider this week. Second one is the par threes from 200 to 225 yards. All three of them fall into that category for this week. So I think that's where you need to focus your energy.
I just noticed this. Do you still have the Concession clubhouse up as your background?
I don't think so, unless
Oh,
it
is that Bay
changed
Hill?
back. Yeah, it's Bay Hill.
I couldn't. It looked similar to the
Let me
Concession
check.
last week. All right, ShallowCal. What about you? Statistics that you're considering?
So I'm gonna.
Oh, actually, no, it didn't change.
Yeah, that is the Concession. White columns back there.
Oh man.
Oh man. Anyways, well, I'm gonna build off of what Tmac said, and I'm gonna go a little bit further on that one, and a little bit backwards a shot. I'm gonna go with shots gained driving and driving distance, because I think if you are a big hitter, you're gonna have a huge advantage in this course. You're not gonna be hitting those long irons into these greens. You're gonna be hitting, shorter irons. You're gonna have a little bit less club in your hand, and you're going to be able to attack these greens that really, they're not as extreme as last week. You know what I'm saying? So they're more, they're not as undulated or sectioned off, and these guys are going to be firing away. So shots gained driving for sure for me.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with both you guys, and I don't think it's any secret this week where the key stats are going to come from. Iron play, off the tee. I mean, wedge shots too, right? All strokes gained approach. I agree with T-Mac that 200 plus yards is going to be huge, because several of those par fives, although playing at more than 550 yards, are reachable for these guys in two. And so having those irons dialed in from 200 yards out is going to be key. To be able to have the opportunity to have those irons dialed in from 200 yards out, you need to be good off the tee. And I also want wedge players. I mean, a key stat this week is going to be proximity to the hole. You not only need to be a good ball striker with good approach play, you got to be able to putt as well, because we're going to see some three putts here at Bay Hill. So I need guys that have a good wedge in their hand when they need it to put that ball close. But also for me, again, as I mentioned right off the top, ball striking. This is a ball striker's course, and some of the best that come to mind right off the bat, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, even a Will Zalatoris, I think are going to shine this week in this layout. Anything else, gents? Anything else you want to throw out about the course or stats you're considering before we jump into making some of these picks?
Yeah, I think this course you're definitely going to see some three putts, but overall it's weird. It's like the complete opposite of last week. These greens are going to be running like 13.5 on the stimp meter this week.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be super, super fast, but they're not like the crazy undulations that you saw last week. So it's like it is a completely different experience going from like one to the next. So I'll be very interested to see who adjusts to that.
These are lightning fast Bermuda greens. If that stimp meter gets up to 12, 13, it's gonna be a problem for everybody. Now that rain is gonna help.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, but they were talking 13.5 earlier this week. So
I'm just interested to see who's gonna start utilizing that claw grip.
I mean, after Mount Morikawa last week, why didn't everybody use it? I mean, sign me. I want to talk to Mark O'Mara. Can I get a little less on the claw grip? That was truly a remarkable turnaround. He lost over 7 shots to the field putting at the Genesis Invitational, and turned around and was top 10 at the Concession. I mean, remarkable.
You know what it does? It just makes you concentrate more. Like it just you're thinking about that much harder because you're doing something new, so you're that much more in your own zone with that, and he just zoned in and was unbelievable.
As a reminder, you are listening to the Right Click Print Money podcast. Find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, leave us a 5-star review. Come find us on Twitter as well. We're at Right Click Picks. Give us your best bets, outrights, top fives, top tens for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. We'll jump on there this week. We'll respond to some of them. We're also going to post our full betting cards to the Twitter account following this week's episode. So you'll be able to see a breakdown for Tmac, for ShallowCal, for myself. We've also got a link out there to our comprehensive spreadsheet that's tracking all the picks that we make and give out on this show every week. And gentlemen, it is that time to right click and print some more money. Let's talk outrights for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. First, strategy for building your card this week. Tmac, you changing anything from last week?
I mean, I'm still kind of finding my groove here. So, I'm doing a ton of wins still, taking some shots at some long shots like usual. Because, again, those are most fun for me. Then I start to ladder my top fives, top tens, top 20s. Then I like to throw out some props there. And so, no, nothing really other than what I've been doing. We'll see. I might be changing some of the units wagered on certain bets. I might be changing how many outright wins I'm betting. Yeah, I'm thinking of tinkering around, but let's see. I mean, this week is a little interesting. I've got 24, I think, units wagered. So
big card. One of the things I love most about golf betting and golf forecasting is there's so many options. You can literally build a card any way you want with very few units. You can splash a bunch out there, have action on all kind of guys. And that's what we talk about every week, right? Like, if you're not betting golf for fun, you're doing it wrong. Like, this is all about the enjoyment of it, the game. Of course, we want to pick winners. We want to make money. We're doing a great job at it, up over 114 units collectively between the three of us. But it's all about your card, your personal flavor, having fun with it. So, ShallowCal, where are you taking yours this week?
So unlike last week, where I really didn't like a lot of the short odds, or there were so many guys bunched up at the top, really short. This week is the complete opposite. I could have gone berserk and built a 35-unit card and walked away super happy. But this week, yeah, I threw down a little bit. I liked some long odds. I liked some mid odds. I like one guy just because he's playing so crazy good that I just had to have him just real quick, and then take all the guys behind him that are like much long. I mean, the odds this week, there's so much value throughout the field. It was crazy when I opened up the book on Monday morning, and it was just like, it hit me, and it's like, oh my God, yes, you and you and you and you and you.
as we were texting about, it is literally like Christmas morning for me every single week on Monday morning. And what I love too, there's so much interest in sports wagering in the United States right now, particularly on golf, and all the books are responding to it. It used to be you had to wait until 9, 10, 11 a.m. even on Monday morning before they would start rolling out the lines. These books, I mean, there's so much competition to get your money. Yeah, Sunday night, first thing Monday morning, 6, 7 a.m., we're starting to see lines roll out. I love it. It's a great hour and a half grab of just racing up and down the boards, shopping picks, and seeing where you can find the value.
I'm still calling out BetMGM though. You guys still don't have the best odds. It's all I can work with. You guys need to catch up here. Let's go.
So, and it changes week to week, right? Like I'm big into golf Twitter, and I follow that whole community. And there was a few of the more prominent commentators this week who are mentioning one book, not by name, but easy enough to deduce which one it was, that likely got hammered by all the Collin Morikawa tickets last week. This particular book usually comes with a little bit better odds to again, kind of corner the market and grab some of that competition from others. Not so this week. So there's going to be a lot of fluctuation next couple weeks.
I mean, what the book that I bet on had fantastic odds, and it was just like, it was a great Monday morning for me. I might have gone a little bit overboard, but I actually kind of like where I stand right now. And it could be disastrous, but it could also be really fantastic as well.
All right, well, we're going to jump into some of those picks. Very similar approach for me this week, very consistent as I've had the last 3 or 4 weeks. 6 golfers that I've identified that I like as outrights. I'm ladder in the top 5s and top 10 picks on each one of those. Also have my standard 5 first-round leader tickets. But let's talk about the board. Under 20-1, our outright picks this week. Tmac, you got 2 of them on your card. Talk to me about the guys you like less than 20-1 outright.
Yeah, so Victor Hovland and Patrick Reed, 2 guys that carried me home last week. I think they're going to do well again this week. I think they're hungry and itching for a win here.
And you don't mind paying the 11-1 price on Victor?
No, I mean, again, yeah, you put a half unit on them and then 18-1 on Patrick Reed for half a unit. So I'm okay with that. If they win, hey, that's still right clicking and printing some money.
All day long. ShallowCal, you're tailing that pick as well. You are also in the low 20s with a golfer.
Just one, and I've got Vic. The display that young man put on last week without the quad was very, very, very impressive. That young man can play some golf, and I can't wait to see if he responds to that, like the way that he responded to that quad, because after that quad, he absolutely came out firing. And if he comes out firing this week again, I wouldn't be surprised, man. That might have lit a fire under his ass.
Here's the only thing that two things that concern me about Victor. I wanted to bet Victor this week. I was texting you both that. I couldn't find a number that I was comfortable at. I was hoping to find him at the back end of the teens, like 16, 18, maybe even find a 20 number out there. Yeah. Not happening with his current form. Here's what worries me about Victor. First of all, the quotes this week about how he doesn't like Florida golf courses, doesn't like playing in Florida. The Concession was the exception. Never like to hear my outright picks starting off the week with that statement. But I also think he has been playing such unbelievable golf for so long. He's got to bounce at some point. Yeah. Like, there's got to be a dip. It's coming. Is it going to be this week? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, maybe he keeps it going another 2 weeks through the players, but at some point, like, that adrenaline's going to wear off. The rush is going to catch up with him. He's going to bounce and he's going to miss a cut we don't expect. I got a feeling it might be this week. I took a right turn for my pick under 20-1 odds. This was actually the last golfer I added to my card, and I struggled with it a lot because, again, I just didn't love the number. But I'm on Tyrrell Hatton at 17-1, mostly because the disrespect the books are giving the defending champion of the event. As I mentioned, not as long as I would have liked to have seen the number. He was 55-1 last year when he won it. But he's a guy that had it going early Sunday at the Concession, retreated a little bit with a couple bogeys on the back 9, but a 3-under round was good enough for 6-under for the tournament, T22. He is a grinder, plays in tough conditions a lot in the European Tour. Ball striking's been outstanding. And as mentioned, he is a previous winner of the BMW Championship. Let's move into the 20s and 30s. This is where the board starts to really get appealing.
Great value this week, man. I'm telling you.
Lead us off, ShallowCal. 20s and 30s for you.
My 20s. I got start off with Paul Casey, 24-1. A little break from some golf. Gonna come back. He had been playing great golf before a little time off. Gonna do him wonders. I'm sure he worked on some things. I'm sure he got some bad habits out, just like I do over a long winter's rest in Michigan. So that's where I'm going there first. And then old Billy Ho, man. Billy Ho, 35-1. Florida
Gator, baby.
He played, yeah, exactly. He played college there. When I opened it up Monday morning and I saw Billy Ho, 35-1. After the form he just put on last week, let me get some of that action. I almost put a full unit on him. And
born in Florida. Played college golf in Florida, lives in Florida, has never won in Florida.
Oh, well, now's the time, right?
Now's the time, if any. I mean, he comes in fine form.
Yeah, and so, and then I got one sneaking in the back end of the 30s at 39-1, old Louis Oosthuizen. there's going to be a little pattern going on here, and he's a part of it. So I like this guy. I like this course for him. Let's see what he can do.
A few similar plays for both you, ShallowCal, and Tmac. Your only play in the 30s as well, Tmac.
Yep, Louis. I got a good feeling about him this week. He played well last week. I think we're gonna have him in contention here.
So I've got just two in the 20s and 30s. I debated Paul Casey as well. Only Casey and Tiger Woods didn't play in the concession last week of those that were eligible. That was enough for me to make a pivot to Matt Fitzpatrick at 25-1. I look at them as very similar golfers at very similar numbers. Again, Euro guys, Englishmen, both tough, gritty ball strikers. Honestly, I mean, you put both names in a hat and give me one of them, I'm probably okay with it at those 25-1 odds. But I made the decision to go with Fitzpatrick, keep Paul Casey off my card because it essentially, in my mind, would have been a duplicate outright. But again, Fitz, tough, gritty Euro. He's got a win, a T5, a T11 in his last 5 starts. He is due to break through on the PGA Tour. And then my second in that range, Francesco Molinari, a former champion of this event, got him at 35-1. He's a 2019 winner, was a withdrawal last year, couldn't defend. He has gained 35 strokes the last 4 times he's played in Bay Hill, which ranks in the top 5 for golfers in this field who have played the tournament 5 times. So he's got one less tournament under his belt, and he's still in the top 5 for strokes gained. Absolutely coming in on a heater as well. 3 top 10s in his last 4 events. All right, well, we talked about how we like deep odds this week.
Yeah,
baby. 40s, 50s cards are expanding. T-Mac, let's start with you. 40s and 50s, your golfers in this range.
Yeah, so I got who do I got this week? So I got Jason Kokrak at 40-1. Bet 1 unit on him. 35 years old. I think he's only got 1 career victory, but I think he's due. He's gonna play well. This is a type of tournament that suits him, and I feel he's gonna take care of this this week.
He's a trendy American pick among golf Twitter this week, especially at those odds. And ShallowCal, I know that he favors your eye as well.
Yes, he does. But I got him at 49-1 odds. And that was very juicy odds. I thought to snatch him up, especially, I mean, with the way that he's been playing, and that number just screamed. It screamed Brooks Koepka 50-1 to me at the Phoenix Open. When I hit that one, I was like, you know what, Kokrak's been playing like Brooks was playing a little bit before that, and let's see him break out.
I love it. I like Jason Kokrak a lot. Not on my card this week, but I wouldn't be terribly disappointed in a Jason Kokrak win just because I'm a fan of him as a player and as a person.
He looks like me too. He got the big.
Isn't he like 6'5"?
What?
Isn't he like 6'5"?
Yeah, well, give or take a few inches. I'm like 6'5".
Yeah.
So this range for me was very similar to the 20s and 30s. There was 2 golfers that I was considering who have very similar profiles, much like Fitzpatrick and much like Paul Casey in the last round of outrights that we gave. For me, it was between Sam Burns and Will Zalatoris. I've referenced it a lot. Golf Twitter is all over Sam Burns this week. And it's not going to happen because of that. Like, it is such a predictable spot for Sam Burns, and every single person on golf Twitter has a Sam Burns outright ticket this week. So that was enough for me to, again, take a hard right turn and pivot. I'm going with Will Zalatoris outright at 45-1. Is this the week that he finally breaks through and does it on the PGA Tour? He's a Wake Forest. I hope so too. He's a Wake Forest guy playing in Arnold Palmer's tournament. He actually played on the Arnold Palmer scholarship at Wake Forest. He's got a funny story about getting a letter from Palmer that he told on Sleaze and I'm forgetting his co-host on PGA Tour Radio this week, but he smudged Arnold Palmer's signature at the bottom of the letter, trying to test if it was actually a real signature.
Oh, God.
But he's got 3 top 20s in his last 5, coming in on a bit of a heater. The ultimate ball striker on the ball striker's course. Strokes gained approach, number 5 in this field. And let me throw one more thing at you. So going back to the Phoenix Open, Brooks Koepka, winner, Florida State grad. Very next week, Pebble Beach, Daniel Berger, Florida State grad. After that, Max Homa at the Genesis, Cal Berkeley grad. After that, Collin Morikawa at the Concession, Cal Berkeley grad. Never in the history of the PGA Tour have 2 different players from the same college won in back-to-back weeks over the course of 6 consecutive weeks. So if it's going to happen, here's my 2 picks. Will Zalatoris this week from Wake Forest, Webb Simpson next week at the Players from Wake Forest.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Or any of the Georgia boys. I mean, there's like 10 Georgia golfers on tour right now. They all live in the Southeast. They all play on Bermuda greens. If like Harris English or Kevin Kisner pops and wins this week, then we might.
And Harris English is like, I got my card for the next 2 years. I'm good.
It's too bad you can't parlay that bet, Ty.
Dude, right? And we're not far away from seeing that, because you're starting to see, again, with so much interest in golf beyond PGA Tour.
Can make that bet.
Yeah, you'll soon. They're going to start adding some fun exotics here as this just continues to take off. All right, we're going to
maker,
Absolutely. All right, let's round this out here. Before we get into triple digits, let's cover the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s all in one fell swoop. Shorter list to you first, Tmac. I know that there's one golfer you're particularly keen on in the 80s that you have been for a while, actually, tailing him.
My man, Cameron Tringale, man, 80-1. I got a half unit on him. I feel great about Tringale this week. Also got Brendan Todd at 80-1. I feel very good about him. And then my boy Taylor Gooch, 80-1.
Gooch.
Feeling really good about Gooch. Always love Gooch.
All right, so we made fun of T-Mac last week for having 1/7 of the field at the Concession picked for outrights. I think ShallowCal has 1/6 of the field picked just in this 60 to 90 range. So let's roll them off. Just read us your list.
All right, so I'm gonna go with start with Kevin Kisner at 65-1. I've got Max Homa 65-1. Let's do it again, baby. I like dancing with you last time. Cameron Tringale, I actually got less than you, T-Mac. I got him at shorter odds, 70-1. And then 90-1. Our boy, the one, the only, Siwoo Kim. So that completes my 60 to 90. Kisner, Homa, Tringale, and Siwoo.
I love it. Nobody for me in this range this week. I did look hard at Justin Rose at 66-1. Coming in not on great form. But he is reconnecting with his former coach this week. Always something I like to see going into a big tournament like this. He is coming off a second place finish at the Saudi International, kind of bookended with some less than stellar rounds.
That was actually so much money during college. When he was good.
He was the last. It was between him and Hatton. I was either going all the way to the top of the board or I was dropping down to this range for Rose. I went with Hatton, but I'm with you. I'm just not a huge fan of Justin Rose in general. Okay, let's take it to triple digits and wrap this up. 100-1 odds or longer. I know both of you are on one golfer in particular. T-Mac, tell us who it is at 100-1.
Lonzo Griffin, baby. I was on him last week, and he was edging towards the top of that leaderboard before he fell off. And, for a minute there, I was going, oh, my God, come on.
Dude, those are the sweats that you want, and that is what Lanto is always offering.
Yep, so I got him again this week at 100-1. I got my boy Benny on at 125-1. This just seems like the kind of random tournament that he would just win out of nowhere. Love that.
And he's got great form at Bay Hill. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily even be out of nowhere.
Well, sure. Shane Lowry, I got him at 125-1.
Nice.
The young one guy here. What's that?
I said I love me some Shane Lowry, dude.
Always, baby.
Yeah.
Lahiri at 300-1. Not really too sure about this kid, but he looked really sharp a couple weeks ago, so I'd love to see him at the top of the board again. And then it's going to hit one of these times. I got Augustine at 250 to 1.
Every week, the auto-click bet. All right, ShallowCal, run us through your list, triple-digit odds.
Lonto, Griffin, for the reasons Tmac said, he's had some nice form lately, been climbing up some leaderboards, and seeing him back there again this week on this course with this weather, like maybe we can get some magic from him. And then Emiliano Grillo at 140 to 1. I saw his name down there, and then I saw where he was with some of the stats that lined up for shots gained on this course and this tournament, and I was kind of surprised that he was 140 to 1. I thought he would be more in the 90 to 110 range, and when I saw him at 141, it was just a snap bet. Even if it doesn't win, it is what it is. It's just one of those where I kind of felt like I had to throw at least a half unit on him, maybe a quarter unit, but I did a half.
Coming off a DQ last year in this tournament, but there was a huge odds disparity on Emiliano Grillo across all books, but particularly offshore versus the States. I saw him at one American book open at 66 to 1. I saw him open up at one offshore book at 150 to 1. I mean, that is a huge delta on odds. So I'm with you, ShallowCal. I mean, when I saw him pop up a few more places at around that 140, 150 to 1 odds, I had to jump on it. He is a ball striker, comes in fine form in that regard. With Grillo, it comes down to the putter every single week. But it's one of those things where if he can run into just a baseline average putting week, his ball striking should be fine to put him in contention at 150 to 1. I love those odds.
Yeah, I like it.
Other one for me this week, Christian Bizadenholt, also got him triple digits, 100 to 1. Similar to Grillo, the putter is key for Christian. He's been great on approach, been great off the tee. He actually, in this field, over his last 8 events, he ranks 8th or better in the field for strokes gained, tee to green total, approach, and around the green. It's all about the putter for him. He's one of those trendy European players who's coming over here looking for a little bit of momentum, looking to potentially punch his ticket into the Players' Championship next week. So I love Christian Bizadenholt here. That's going to do it for our outright picks. We're going to tease a little bit of the rest of our cards. All three of us have top 5s, top 10s. There may be a few matchup plays sprinkled in there, a few first-round leaders, a few prop bets. Go to @RightClickPicks on Twitter. We'll link you out to our entire spreadsheet. We'll post our cards later tonight so you can see everything. But to close us out here, gentlemen, give me one more pick on your card that you haven't mentioned yet already. Can be anything. One pick and one pick only. T-Mac, you first.
So we alluded to, being able to possibly drive a par 5, which, again, I agree is not going to happen. But prop bet. Albatross happening in this tournament. 20 to 1, baby. Betting 1 unit on it. Let's go.
20 to 1 is actually shorter than I would have anticipated that being. That's interesting. So there's a shot.
Absolutely.
All right, ShallowCal, how about you? One bet that you haven't mentioned on your card you're excited about?
Yes. Mr. Kevin Kisner. The Kiz. First round leader, 60 to 1.
I love it. I'm gonna go with a first round leader ticket for mine as well. Matt Wallace at 100 to 1. Another Englishman coming in here. Missed the cut at the Puerto Rico Open, but again, before that had been playing on some fine form. Actually has some decent performances under his belt on corollary courses. Would be a nice way to start the card. As a reminder, you are listening to the Right Click Print Money podcast. You can see all of our picks, including outrights, top 5s, top 10s, matchups, and prop plays by following @RightClickPicks on Twitter. Find that spreadsheet. You can see how we performed year to date. We are up collectively 114 units on this podcast. We will be tweeting out our full weekly betting cards later tonight. Again, link to that spreadsheet with the historical information. Quickly, I want to announce some exciting news as well. We're going to be debuting a European Tour edition of Right Click Print Money next week for the Qatar Masters. Be on the lookout for that. Gentlemen, as always, the goal is printing paper. Let's get out there and right-click print money for the masses. Cheers to it.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.